Hello again. This is Grace. It is still August the 5th, 2019, and we're working on part two of the Jeremiah 70-year prophecy, Jeremiah 70 years of desolation. So we're going to go ahead and read chapter 26. In the beginning of the reign of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, came the word from the Lord, saying, Thus saith the Lord, stand in the courts of the Lord's house, and speak unto all the cities of Judah, which come to worship in the Lord's house. All the words that I command thee to speak unto them, diminish not a word. If so be, they will hearken and turn every man from his evil way, that I may repent of the evil which I purpose to do unto them because of the evil of their doings. And thou shalt say unto them, Thus saith the Lord, if ye will not hearken unto me, to walk in my law, which I have set before you, to hearken to the words of my servants, the prophets, whom I sent unto you, both rising up early and sending them, but ye have not hearkened, then I will make this house like Shiloh, and will make this city a curse unto all the nations of the earth. So the priests and the prophets and all the people heard Jeremiah speaking these words in the house of the Lord. Now it came to pass, when Jeremiah had made an end of speaking all that the Lord had commanded him to speak unto all the people, that the priests and the prophets and all the people took him, saying, Thou shalt surely die. Okay, I got mixed up somewhere here. We don't need this. We're going to go to 27. I must have gotten the chapters mixed up. So, in beginning of the reign of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, came this word unto Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Thus saith the Lord unto me, this is the chapter, I'm sorry about that. Make thee bonds and yokes, and put them upon thy neck, and send them to the king of Edom, and to the king of Moab, and to the king of the Ammonites, and to the king of Tyrus, and to the king of Zidon, and by the hand of the messengers was come to Jerusalem unto Zedekiah, king of Judah. Now, what you want to understand here is that these are the neighboring cities of Jerusalem. So, in the neighboring cities would have a representative that either came to Jerusalem regularly or would even live there sometimes. And so these are the messengers which are being sent out, to their kings, to their leaders. Okay? And command them to say unto their masters, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Thus shall ye say unto your masters, I have made the earth, the man, and the beasts that are upon the ground, by my great power, and by my outstretched arm, and have given it to whom it seemed meet unto me. And now have I given all these lands into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant, and the beasts of the field have I given him also to serve him. And all nations shall serve him, and his son, and his son's sons, until the very time of his land come. And then many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of him. And all, of course, is not all nations, it's just the ones that are named. It's not the entire world. So, and then many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of him. And it shall come to pass that the nation and kingdom which shall not serve the same Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, and that will not put their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, that nation will I punish, saith the Lord, with the sword, and with the famine, and with the pestilence, until I have consumed them by hand. Therefore hearken not to your prophets, nor to your diviners, nor to your dreamers, nor to your enchanters, nor to your sorcerers, which speak unto you, saying, Ye shall not serve the king of Babylon. For they prophesy a lie unto you, to remove you far from your land, that I should drive you out, and ye perish. So, these lands do not have to leave they don't have to leave their land to serve the king of Babylon. They can stay. They just have to put their neck under the yoke again of Nebuchadnezzar. Again, the tributary. But the nation that bring their neck under the yoke of King Babylon and serve him, those will I let remain still in their own land, saith the Lord, and they shall till it and dwell therein. I spake also to Zedekiah, king of Judah, according to all these words, saying, Bring your necks under the yoke of king of Babylon, and serve him and his people, and live. So Zedekiah is not given the option to stay. They're gonna go. Okay, most of the people have to go in order for it doesn't have to be all the people, but it has to be most of the people. So, but they can live. Nobody has to die. But these other kings, they can stay in their land. They have not been told the truth the way Judah and Jerusalem has. But this land is the prophecy is to desolate the land, not the servitude. Okay, so that was what I wanted to point out there. So let's take a look at the chart so that we can see it on the chart here. Oh, hold on a second, because I got stuff on here that I didn't want to. I'll show my calendar. Normally I have more in there than that. Thank goodness I don't have anything in there this time. Okay. If I have stuff in the background and then people see it, then it may be that it may be an old study or something like that, and it may just not be something that I want out there just yet, or maybe an incomplete study. Could be anything, but people might see it and think, oh, that's the way she feels, or that's what she believes, and it really couldn't be further from the truth. Okay, so we have the kings, their reign, the scriptures. This first list is the first number is the years in captivity, and then the second one, the years desolate. So we're gonna go down here. We don't need to go over this word for word really, and I'm not going to. But I just wanted to point out the difference that I found with the conventional teachings. The reason why this was a sore spot for me was because I don't really study history. But I found all these charts and I was like, wow, this is great. Let me go ahead and look at it. And I'm going to be so good. I'm going to be so thorough. And I'm going to have all this information for you. And then I got there and there's no dates. Of course, they can't give you the correct date. They don't want you to know the truth. So they give you like a 5-year time span, a 10-year time span. It might be this, maybe not. We don't know. We couldn't find it. They went into every single house and every single place, and nobody had a record of when this happened, except for that one dude. He's the only one that knew anything. Everybody else was dumb and knew nothing and wrote down nothing. It's just unbelievable, the things that we are told. But anyway, I'm going to stop ranting on about that. That's enough about that. Who cares at this point, right? I've got what I believe the truth. Whether you believe it or not is entirely up to you. So we had the first king, Jehoiakim, and he reigned 11 years. And the siege happened during his reign in around 605. Most of the dates are within about 5 years of this. It's going to come within that range somewhere, the ones that they give. This, of course, the dates don't matter. I didn't care about the dates. I wanted the scriptures to line up appropriately, which they did not line up when they started making up dates. They didn't give any scriptures to support it. They just said this happened on that date, and we're supposed to believe it. And you talk about being frustrated? I was so frustrated because I was so proud of myself for doing this. It didn't work out right. So we have the first year of captivity over here, and during the first siege, and then we go down through the captivities, and here we get to Jehoiakim, and Jehoiakim ruled for 3 months, 10 days, and it gives you the information here, and the scriptures to support it, and then we go down, and we get the next king, Zedekiah, in his reign, and he reigned for so many years. So we get down here where the temple is destroyed. This is the captivity, right? So they've been going into captivity for 19 years now. But this is the first year that the kingdom has been desolate. And how do we know it's desolate? Well, the scriptures tell us it's desolate. We're going to read through all of this, so it's going to be quite a mouthful. So let's hang in there. Now, the 5th month of the 4th day of the month, which was the 19th year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, 19th year of his reign, came Nebuzaradan. That was like the captain of his guards. Oh, it says it here. Captain of the guard, which served the king of Babylon unto Jerusalem, and burned the house of the Lord, and the king's houses, and all the houses of Jerusalem, and all the houses of the great men burned he with fire. And all the armies of the Chaldeans that were with the captain of the guard brake down all the walls of Jerusalem round about. Therefore he brought upon them the king of the Chaldeans, who slew their young men with the sword in the house of their sanctuary, and had no compassion upon young men or maidens or old, or him that stooped for age. He gave them all into his hand. And all the vessels of the house of God, great and small, and the treasures of the house of the Lord, and the treasures of the king, and of his princes, all of these he brought to Babylon. And they burnt the house of God, and brake down the walls of Jerusalem, the wall of Jerusalem, and burnt all the palaces thereof with fire, and destroyed all the goodly vessels thereof. And them that had escaped from the sword he carried. Let me start that over. And them that had escaped from the sword he carried away to Babylon, where they were servants to him and his sons until the reign of the kingdom of Persia. And this is the scripture that I use for the count. To fulfill the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah, until the land had enjoyed her Sabbaths, for as long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbath, to fulfill 70 years. We're not going to go to that scripture. I was thinking about going there, but we're not going to. I don't think we need to. During this time, these are my notes in green here. During this time, the city and the temple were destroyed, leaving the temple desolate. This is announcing the desolation, and that's why I started the count of the desolation here. So when you get down a little bit further, and you do the count of the 70 years, that's where you start to see. That's where you see they have 536, give or take 5 years, as the date of desolation. And they also have that he reigned earlier than 536, but it took like 3 years for him to set them free. All kinds of different variations. I didn't put any of that on here, but you will find it if you look it up. I just went by the scripture because the scripture said that same year that he took over, he gave it to Darius, and he issued the decree. That's what the scripture said, so that's what I put here. But that's not what historians say. But who cares what they say? We jump down 70 years after that, and this is where the scriptures say the desolation ended, because it's not based on the captivity. It's based on the desolation of the temple and Jerusalem and the temple. So it may seem mundane, but I don't think that anything is mundane in the Bible, so I wanted to point it out. And that's what this is about. And we're only at 13 minutes. I guess we have time to go and look up the scripture. You know what? Let's just make this a short one. Let's just end it here. I'm going to attach this document. The reason why I'm attaching this document is not because I feel like it's going to be of a great use to you, but you might want to look at it because everything that I found online was biased. It was very difficult to find anything with the counter without it that didn't have the Daniel 9:24 prophecy in mind and in some form or way trying to uphold or prove that prophecy. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to post this underneath. You can find that there. And we will close this out. I don't think I have anything else to say. I think I made my correction. And I think I made the correction in the last video. So I don't have to say that. I guess that's it. We're going to close out there. Yahweh bless to all of you. Bye.